Today, Mushroom Cloud reviews The Expendables 4, the new installment in the film series starring Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone, and Dolph Lundgren. An Indian-American adolescent who grapples with her cultural identity accidentally releases a demonic monster that begins to haunt her in. It lives inside. Before we get started, be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell for new movie reviews and essays. Our first movie is The Expendables 4, the fourth installment of the Expendables franchise, which revolves around a team that gets called as the last line of defense when all options are off the table. How a team of geriatrics is the last line of defense for anything, we can't say. The Expendables are dispatched to Libya to prevent mercenary Ramat from stealing nuclear warheads for the surreptitious Ocelot, whom Barney Ross, played by Sylvester Stallone, failed to catch 25 years before. However, the crew is immobile when all their vehicles are destroyed in the ensuing battle. When their plane is shot down, Barney, who had remained on board, is killed. CIA Officer Marsh, played by Andy Garcia, explains at Barney's memorial that the squad will go after Ocelot and Ramat, but without Lee Christmas, played by Jason Statham, who compromised the mission by attempting to save Barney from the doomed plane. Now get this, Christmas's former lover, Gina, played by Megan Fox, replaces him and brings female operative Lash to the team. The team proceeds to Asia, but they are followed by Christmas, who has already slipped Gina a tracking device. Following Barney's death, a sealed file was opened, stating that there was an eyewitness who could identify Ocelot. Why is this relevant? Because Ocelot intends to start World War III by letting nuclear bombs explode in the Russian Far East while carrying them on a ship disguised as an American aircraft carrier. However, upon boarding the ship, the Expendables and Marsh are attacked and taken hostage. Marsh is singled out and taken away by the captors to negotiate a prisoner swap for the eyewitness. Like most action films, The Expendables 4 had a clear inciting incident, but you have to survive the testosterone-fueled normal world of the characters Barney and Christmas putting a beatdown on a bunch of Neanderthals in their favorite bar. It can't be in the genre with any wasted minute of thoughtful storytelling. If a character isn't at least thrown over a bar, then the filmmakers feel that they have not done their jobs. The cookie-cutter action of shoot-'em-up bang-bangs, explosions, chase scenes, and fist-fights could have been done by any director given the budget, which must have been limited since many of the action sequences employed green screen backgrounds of location. It was a missed opportunity to give the older characters like Stallone and Lundgren the added conflict of nature, aging. They touched on it with Lundgren needing his glasses to be effective with his sniper rifle. But that was hardly enough, as they were mostly invincible as they were approaching their 80s. Not to be an ageist, but couldn't the government turn to younger people to lead some suicidal special ops mission? Are we supposed to believe they can only call on Stallone and Lundgren? 50 Cent, you asked? Well, he was just there taking up space. We didn't go in expecting much from the characters. It's an Expendables movie, for Pete's sake. But couldn't we have a hint of what the characters believed? Couldn't we see how their beliefs challenged them in pursuit of their goals? Which took a dramatic change when Barnes was killed, by the way. Couldn't we see how their worldviews conflicted with each other? Couldn't they just be, well, human? We're not asking for too much, are we? With this writer and director, I guess we are asking for a lot. They're too focused on giving us the obligatory Team America march into their mission, as seen in every Hollywood special ops film, guns pointing to the sky, and unrealistic female special forces soldiers with perfectly caked on makeup that doesn't blemish no matter what. If they can shortchange us by not giving us simple human characters in an extraordinary situation, don't expect them to have a worthy opponent that we believe will stop the hero. Ruthless doesn't equal threatening. The bad guys were nincompoops, to say the least. They had equally useless foot soldiers who were getting mowed down by the hundreds. It almost had us asking, where in the world are all these soldiers coming from? Not one of them knows how to shoot or fight. I couldn't help but think of Attack of the Clones. There were so many, all on one aircraft carrier. They had their own army, navy, air force, and marines, and were still no match for the Expendables. And don't get us started on how our heroes escaped capture. which only required one of them tinkling on some lid for God knows why, and the Deus Ex Machina at the end that left us laughing hysterically at its predictable absurdity. The directing was typical of today's films, with amateurish blocking and staging that left us believing most scenes could have been shot anywhere, and it wouldn't have made a difference. The shaky camera work and uninteresting framing. The dialogue felt like something from an earlier Capcom role-playing game, and the performances were just as flat as the screenplay. Even when the film was redeeming itself by not dragging, it eventually did, forcing us to take away a gold star for never being a complete bore. We're not recommending this dreadful movie, nuking it with a 2.2 out of 10. Our next film is It Lives Inside, written and directed by Bishal Dutta. Actress Megan Suri plays Sam, an Indian-American adolescent who lives in a peaceful suburb with her strict mother and integrated father. Sam's cultural concerns deepen as a result of her estranged Indian-American friend, Tamira, who is always hopelessly disheveled and curiously carrying an empty mason jar with her all the time. When Tamira goes to Sam in a desperate plea for help, Sam, in a fit of rage, breaks Tamira's jar, releasing an ancient Indian evil entity that kidnaps Tamira. Sam hunts for Tamira, following the trail of a young guy who carried out and fell victim to a deadly ritual. But that's when the demonic spirit begins to hunt her down, murdering her love interest and shattering her reality with nightmarish images. Sam must work with her parents and a sympathetic teacher, played by Betty Gabriel, to save Tamira and put an end to the demon's terror. We appreciate the Indian cultural references, both in the ordinary world of the character and even with the mythology of the demon. Suri gives a solid performance as Sam, who believes she can live her best life as a teenager by forsaking her traditions and faith, something her mother tries to maintain for herself and the family. It's her belief system that keeps her from empathizing with her troubled best friend Tamira and keeps an ever-expanding wedge between them. It was a good idea to allow for a full circle moment when Sam realizes she has to reconnect to the traditions and faith she neglected to have a chance against the demon. We wish the directing could have been stronger. The filmmakers did a great job at maintaining a sort of intense unease from beginning to end. But there was nothing creative about the camera work. The cinematography was typical of a horror genre film, relying heavily on darkness. For once, we would like a film that can terrify was in the daytime, like Pearl. Bad things can happen day or night. We don't have many complaints about the film and can recommend it with a 5.6 out of 10. Now for a recap. 2.2 out of 10 for The Expendables 4. It was a bad film that didn't need to be made. Let it go. And we give It Lives Inside a 5.6 out of 10. It's an interesting horror film that suffered from some unoriginal ideas in a mostly original supernatural horror film. Do you agree with our take on these new releases? Leave a comment, whether you agree or not. Maybe we can have a friendly debate. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And if you want to see our future film reviews and essays, click the subscribe button and the notification bell for new videos. That's it for this week. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of more movies, which include The Creator starring John David Washington, as a former soldier who finds a robot in the form of a child against the backdrop of war between humans and robots with artificial intelligence. That's next week, and until the next video, we're signing out.